Welcome to Taking Care of Business on News Talk 1180 KERN for the best in Saturday Talk Radio at 1 o'clock and on 1230 KGEO at 10 o'clock Saturday, and for the best in Wednesday Talk Radio on 1410 KERI, the Christian station. We are now on 1000 KKIM in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and also on the internet on knookmedium.com, serving Richmond, Oakland, and the San Francisco Bay Area. Your host is Clay Koerner, and I'm Marty Pay. Our producer is the one and only Greg Held. Hey, Clay, what a great show last week with Secret Service agent Clint Hill.
Clint was interesting.
Yeah. Did he convince you that Oswald was the lone gunman?
I never questioned that.
Really?
No.
Okay. I thought
Never.
you did at one time.
No.
And especially when you look at the distance, 80 yards, I mean, it's not that tough of a shot, moving away from you like that. It's a pretty easy shot.
Well, you're a sharpshooter, you'd know.
Well, yeah. And Peter Kreeft, I thought he was a great guest.
Peter Kreeft off the air was hilarious. I wish we could have had some of our conversation on the air that we had off the air with him.
Yeah.
Who would think a professor would have that much humor in his persona?
Great sense of humor. Yeah, we're going to have him back on. We've got a great show lined up today. In the second half, we have a treat. Local award-winning talk show host Ralph Bailey.
Who?
Ralph Bailey.
What station?
From the Ralph Bailey Show on 1180 Kern.
3 o'clock every day.
3 to 6 every day. But in the first half, we have Marylee Shrider from the Kern County Right to Life. Marylee, welcome to Taking Care of Business.
Thank you very much.
And I have to apologize to you and to your compadre over at the Crisis Pregnancy Center. We've been on the air 4 years and have not had you guys on, and I apologize for that.
Oh, that's okay.
Because this is a big issue for me. I actually was involved in starting two pregnancy centers, the one in Tehachapi and one in Los Angeles. So it's an issue that's close to my heart. But since it's January Roe v. Wade month, we thought we'd have you on.
Well, we appreciate it. And the Bakersfield Pregnancy Center also is a close friend of Right to Life of Kern County. They do a lot of great work, and they've been going strong for a long time.
Now, what's the difference between the two of you?
Well, Right to Life of Kern County is an advocacy and education pro-life organization. We don't provide those kinds of services, but we do refer a lot of women in crisis to the services that the Bakersfield Pregnancy Center provides. They do free ultrasounds, free pregnancy tests. They provide a lot of young mothers or mothers-to-be with the support that they need. So they provide the services. We're all about, and they do some education as well. They also do a lot of post-abortion counseling for young women who do regret that decision. So we work closely with the Pregnancy Center, and we're very happy to be partners with them.
Which is great. Now, in my day, when I was involved in starting pregnancy centers 20 plus years ago, the Right to Life was more Catholic-oriented or centered, and the pregnancy centers were more Protestant at that time. But I guess we've come beyond that, thank God.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because one of the reasons you haven't had us on your program is because Right to Life of Kern County is actually a new Right to Life of Kern County. We've been around for 40 years, but for many, many years, it was, some very group of pro-lifers around a coffee table.
Right.
A few years ago, they took it dark. They said, we're having a few financial problems and so on. So they just kind of said, let's just stop it. And Monsignor Craig Harrison of St. Francis Church took it under the auspices of St. Francis. And for 3 years, they basically did some rebuilding and reorganizing and brought it to a professional level. So for the last 18 months, it's been a new Right to Life of Kern County. And that's where we are. So,
well, I have to tell you a little story about how the market was 20 plus years ago. 1990. I can remember, and I won't mention the town, but it's one of the towns I was involved in starting a center. I can remember
you already told us who those were.
Yeah, but so you have to guess which of the two it is.
Well, it's 50-50 coin flip.
There you go. Hey, very good. 50-50. Yeah, that's like half, isn't it? Tomorrow we go to geography.
Yes.
It's going to be a long day. But anyways, I can remember going in to see a lot of the Protestant churches, and at that time, the membership was really pro-life and wanted to be involved in the issue, and a lot of the pastors were afraid to. And in the Catholic Church, it was the exact opposite. The hierarchy was very pro-life, and the membership was a little wishy-washy at that time. So it was kind of an interesting mix. And I can remember going in, we had this little packet, and this little sales pitch we were giving to the pastors. And I can remember going in to see this particular Catholic pastor or priest, And he, before I could even say word one, he said, okay, Marty, we want you to do this, this, this. The Knights of Columbus are doing this, this, this. And he goes, and then he says, now remember, these are not Protestants, these are Catholics. I'm going to have you teach. I'm going to have you talk at the Mass, but we only got 5 minutes because Catholics have a very low attention span. So it's not like a 45-minute sermon. Now, I was brought up Catholic, so I'm laughing at this. And at the end of it, I go, by the way, here's our packet. So, thank God we've gone beyond that,
Well, I wish we could say that's entirely correct. Mm-hmm. In the 18 months that I've been executive director, I have found, of course, that, and I think this is a very true statement, that if it weren't for the Catholics, there would be no pro-life movement. Mm-hmm. They are front and center. They have been carrying this bucket for a very, very long time. And the Protestants have been slow to come on board. Mm-hmm. And this is coming from an evangelical right here.
Right. Okay.
It's been a bit of a slog in that area. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping now, to be fair, I have spoken to a lot of Protestant pastors who tell me, hey, look, we are pro-life. We do support life issues, but they also hesitate to be, they sometimes associate the pro-life movement with some of the more militant factions that have kind of cast
Randall Terry and that. Yeah.
Exactly. Sure. And they don't want that. And so what we have to do of Right to Life Kern County is we have to demonstrate that we're not kooks, that we're discerning, that we're deliberate in what we do, that we're moving forward carefully and prayerfully, and we are.
Mm-hmm. And what happens is, I think a lot of pastors, I don't want to say get drugged to the table, but what happens is the membership says, hey, listen, we want to be involved in this issue. So all of a sudden the pastors realize that, this is an issue that we need to become involved in.
Right.
So, where you would think they would do it from a biblical standpoint. Boy, we're going so fast here. Our guest in studio is Marylee Shrider from the Right to Life of Kern County.
Correct.
Play.
Thank you, Marty.
You're welcome, kind sir.
I was curious as to where do you get your funding?
We are 100%. We rely 100% on donations.
You don't get anything from the government?
You were kidding, right? No.
Well,
no,
the
absolutely
other group
not.
don't they?
Oh, yes, they do.
The other group meaning who?
Well, the other
Planned
group
Parenthood.
Planned Parenthood
for abortion.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure. No. We are completely dependent upon those who share our values on like-minded donors.
Wow. Is there ever a reason that someone should get an abortion?
No. I know that what you might be referring to is in a medical emergency, and that is such a teeny percentage. And what I would like people to know is, when a woman has to terminate a pregnancy in order to save her own life, that was legal before Roe v. Wade. That's been legal since Roe v. Wade. It will be legal after Roe v. Wade. That is a tragic occurrence that happens. It is extremely rare, but it does happen.
Well, sometimes there are children or in the womb who have major physical problems and will not be able to live outside in a realistic environment like we live in today. Should that not be a reason for an abortion?
No, it should not. I mean, that's we want to be compassionate about this topic, but we have found that it all comes back to this: is this a human life or is it not? Do we value human life or do we not? And we just hear from too many mothers. We have a woman on our board of directors who've discovered that her baby in the womb had encephaly, that the skull cap did not develop and the brain was completely exposed. She chose, because she wanted to be a mom as long as she could, to take that baby to term, and the baby did pass away 10 days later. But in the meantime, she got to be a mom, and she thanks God for that. And a dear friend of mine just had a Down syndrome baby. And that baby has brought the family together in an amazing, supportive way that they never thought possible. So we believe that people need to look beyond their fears and that immediate, concern and really search their hearts before they do anything drastic.
You refer to a baby in the womb as a baby human being in the womb.
Yes.
Where others refer to that as tissue.
Right.
And the difference, who makes those determinations?
Well, first of all, not even a lot of pro-choicers use the term blob of tissue anymore. I heard it recently, and I was by an older person. I heard it recently, and I was really surprised, because blobs of tissue do not have heartbeats. They do not have nerve endings, and they do not have their own unique set of DNA. So we're really the most educated. Even the pro-choicers have moved past that. We believe that the infant inside, the embryo, is a baby. It's a human being. And again, do we value human life or do we not?
When we come back from the break, I want to talk a little bit about how medical science is really determining, has a lot to do with the abortion issue as far as the pro-life and pro-choice end of it.
Sure.
We'll be back in a moment on Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio, News Talk 1180.